Here's what happened. Yesterday was a chaotic day. Like things just were going all over the place. And I had this speaking application that was had a deadline for yesterday, and of course waited till the last minute to get it done. And what I thought was going to take me more than a couple hours only really took me around 30 minutes, but I waited till the end of the day, possible moment to get it done before going to bed. So for me, that became the win for the chaotic day. But for you, when you have a chaotic day, it could be because you're also putting off work tasks and getting distracted a bunch. Or it could be some situation that comes up with family or friends or a partner that you're going to have to navigate, or even an emergency with work that you got to deal with. But at the end of a chaotic day, it can feel defeating. Like when you're in bed, you can look back and be like, what the hell did I actually get done? And to move towards who it is I want to become. So when that happens, that energy can then seep into the next day within your body because you're sleeping on that. So what happens is then once it seeps in, and I talked about it before with the push start, you seep in for that defeating energy to the next day and the next day and the next day, and then it can lead you to that one-way ticket of burnout. And also it can make you feel stuck. So what I want to do is share with you 3 reminders to win your next chaotic day so that you continue to take that momentum towards who it is you want to become. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. To get into it today, I want to talk about the connection with burnout for the chaotic day, share with you this idea of the needs that we have of variety and certainty. And then I want to go through those 3 reminders with you, and then I'll anchor it all together for a foundation on a guided meditation for you to take into this weekend and get prepared for next week. So for the connection to burnout with the burnout beast, again, going back to the spectrum, we have this spectrum where on one end we've hit burnout, and then on the other end we've made burnout extinct. And the burnout beast, which I think of like a Smeagol guy, like gremlin, is just dragging you towards hitting burnout. So you have a decision of either you're going to get defeated by the burnout beast today, or you're going to be able to win today against the burnout beast. And hitting burnout, it doesn't happen overnight. So it comes with the chronic stress and the overwhelm and the anxiety that builds up within our body. Our body is like a balloon. There's a certain capacity that our body can handle for those stresses that come up in our day-to-day, the challenges that we're facing, if that's having to deal with, hard conversations with a partner, to having to deal with just random requests that can come up at work, or even like when we're not able to get in our workouts that we want to get in at certain times, or how our schedule is set up, it doesn't end up following through exactly how we had planned. All these little moments can cause us to have stress, and then that can lead into more overwhelm and then the anxiety for the future of where we're headed for our path in life. So the balloon fills up, but then it gets to a certain point where it will pop, and that is hitting burnout. So when it comes to figuring out ways to release out that air from the balloon so that the body can stay at this like nice level, it helps with these 3 reminders to remember. And so the first reminder I want to get into is to focus on your personal health, to take care of you when the chaotic days hit. So let's say you have a lot of situations that are coming up in your work, if that's clients trying to contact you, or you have this like really major issue with some sort of tech situation for your business, and you're having to figure out how to solve it and get it done, or who to delegate it out to. It's in those moments where you got to come back to remembering to take care of you. Because if you can't take care of yourself and you're drained, you're not going to be able to show up for the people that are either on your team or your family or your friends or your partner, to be there for them. So that is a really important reminder, is that when you are feeling like your mind is pinballing and you're going all over the place and you're trying to move from one activity to the next activity to the next activity, take a moment for a few seconds to pause and to check back in with your body. And a way to be able to do this is focusing in on deep breaths, being able to breathe in through the nose and then breathe out through the mouth. And being able to create a habit of that when you feel the pinballing happening for you. That's why I like to call it, where you just feel like you are moving around from place to place, is in between tasks for work or in between activities that you're doing. Take a moment to pause to remember this is your check-in. Always come back to checking in with yourself and then breathing. And it sounds so simple, but then I ask, like, how many times do we actually do it? Like, we know this is helpful for us because with breathing, it allows us to get back into a parasympathetic state. Again, a past guest on the show, Zach Campa, talked about the importance of breath. But how many times do we consciously focus in on this and make sure we're not having that shallow breathing that can happen when we're heightened up and we're like moving all over the place and trying to get things done? So this is a great reminder of, if once we take care of ourselves, we can then also take care of other people around us. And it doesn't have to be for a long time. Like what can come up is you thinking you have to go on like this retreat for 4 hours in the day to be able to handle all the chaotic moments that can come up in the day. And it's not true. Like, if you take the time throughout the day to have these moments to reconnect with your body, and breath is such a powerful way to be able to do that. So that's reminder number one. And then reminder number two is mo time, movement, remembering to move throughout your day and having these moments to celebrate that movement. So for example, what I like to do is if I notice I'm all like, if I'm having to send messages out on my phone and I'm noticing that I'm starting to get that brain fog that's building up in my head, and I'm feeling just like this blanket and it's a little bit fuzzy up there, that's a moment to me to be like, okay, dude, like, you gotta step away from this. And what can happen is in that fog, I gotta move that fog throughout my body. So that's where movement comes in. That's where I can go for a walk, or I can shake it out. Literally, I'll shake my body out a bit, or even start doing some corrective exercises that I've talked about before. Those help to move energy out. And what is happening for the body is, by you creating movement, then the mitochondria within your body is producing, with the help of ATP, the energy, and you're literally energizing your body, which I think is so cool when it comes to movement and the benefits that come with that, as well as being able to lower the stress levels that can come up. It also can help to focus in on clarity for what has to get done for the next task, so you can come back into being present in the moment. And then what is really important is celebrating afterwards. And these mo time moments that can come up throughout the day could just be for a few seconds in between work tasks, or moments where you realize, okay, I need to take a break from this and move this energy that's building within me of either the stress, the overwhelm, or the anxiety. Just having a few seconds to do that is so helpful, because if not, you feel like this pressure, and that's where the balloon comes in. You feel like this pressure is building, but has no way to release it out. So during those chaotic days, especially when things are just super heightened and you're just like trying to just like feel like you're moving around super fast all over the place. I'm trying to think of that cartoon character. I can't think of the name. It's like the wolf. I'm picturing the wolf and it's like moving super fast. Yeah, I can't picture it of what the name is, but it's just like you're thinking like you're moving super, super fast from one task to the next. That's where mo time is so helpful too. You have the pause with the breath, and then the next one is movement, getting a movement in. And that's where variety, you can mix it up a bit for the day. What happens is that after you do that mo time, you got to celebrate. And I've talked about that, celebrating the effort. It's one of my plays in my Burnout Proof playbook, of celebrating the things that you want your body to recognize as something you want more of. And what I've done with it is, again, like I tap both my shoulders and then I raise my arms up in an X and go like, "Roar," like that. And I've shared that before. Whatever you can acknowledge as a celebration. That could be just a pat on the back, a little like, woo, a little dance. That will be helpful to be able to remind the body that you want more of this. And it goes back to small wins. You're building small wins throughout your day in the chaotic day. So by the end of it, it's not going to feel so defeating because you've had all these wins that you've stacked up. And I go back to small wins, celebrating the small wins, they lead to the big wins. And that can help you at the end of the day to have some momentum to take into the next day. And something that comes up with this is remembering the chaotic days, they are temporary. I think about that for when I'm in it and I feel just swamped. Like, I'm just like, dude, I'm trying to get by. I'm feeling really tired and exhausted. What I got to remember is that this is temporary. This is a phase. in the day or in the week or in the life that I'm moving through. And I go back to this Alex Hormozy quote, which is, now is not forever. And when you can remember that and just realize, okay, you're in it, but this is maybe where you started, but this doesn't mean it's going to be where you end. And that can help to keep you moving forward throughout the day, and you don't get super overwhelmed to a point where you freeze in the chaotic day. The next one that I want to share with you is the push start. I've talked about it. It was in the latest episode, but this I want to bring back and really remind you of how important it is to end the day with a form of movement when you don't feel like doing something. Because at the end of the day, when you're feeling defeated, all you want to do is curl up in the ball and go to bed and be done. Maybe cuddle a little bit, but you just want to get on to the next day. That's where a lot of resistance can come up for you to do anything. But with movement of just doing a few seconds at the end of the day, where it's just pushing yourself a little bit. For me, it's like I'll do a few push-ups before we're going to bed or some corrective exercises. That reminds the body that you can do things even though you don't feel like it. And what happens is it helps remind the body that you can handle challenges that are coming your way. And it builds more confidence within you to know that you can handle. It's that self-trust and that connection to your body, which it's interesting because when we think of resistance, there can be a lot of feelings out there of, oh, only do things that you say a hell yes to or that feel amazing. The issue is that it's hard to then stick with consistency in that, because as human beings, you're not always going to feel like doing things, especially I think about in the habit formation process during the angry phase when there is a lot of resistance there. And that's where you do have to push through. So if you can bring that, because when you can bring that into then this push start, it's a low lift of effort that is needed to create some sort of movement for a few seconds, literally 5 seconds. And then it's momentum that can be built within the body as you're sleeping, getting ready for then the next day. So those are your 3 reminders. 2 things I want to talk about or focus in on for needs is, as a reminder, and so I guess you could call this a bonus one, is that we need variety and we need certainty. So when a chaotic day comes up, that could be because of our own making. I think about that with putting off work tasks and that like things that we really want to get done, but we're nervous about getting done. That's where procrastination could come up. Also, a thing to remember is how much variety do you have in your day? Because I do like a certain amount of structure of getting, habits done and having somewhat of a schedule set up. But if I am thinking that I'm going to know every single hour of every single day and have the same thing on repeat, that becomes very boring for me. And that actually makes me feel super tense and overwhelmed. And I'm starting to get stressy even as I'm talking about it. Like that's where my balloon fills up to the max. So variety becomes a really important need for me when I have too much certainty. But what can happen with variety is if we don't have any structure, that's where it can get chaotic. If there's no structure and we're just doing a bunch of different things and we don't really know what's going to happen, that can also be stressful in its own way and overwhelming in its own way. So throughout each day, it's making sure you have this nice balance, and not every day is going to be amazing for the balance. Some days you'll be more on variety, some days more uncertainty. But if you can think about it, even in a whole week, that you have a nice balance between variety activities throughout your day and then certainty of set structure throughout your day, that's also really helpful, because if you have too much certainty, what can also be happening that you may not even realize it is you're trying to create chaos in your day and make it chaotic by either pushing things off to the last minute or choosing to maybe say certain things that you didn't want to say in a conversation with your partner or friends or family, just to like get things excited that you think is going to be exciting but actually is going to cause you a bunch of headaches. That is a way that we may not realize we're bringing variety into the day, and that you may not realize is happening to you. Is like, oh wow, I've been stuck in this house for this entire week. I've been doing the same thing over and over again, eating the same food over and over again. There's been a lot of certainty and structure in there. So no wonder I could all of a sudden have this chaotic day that comes out of nowhere. That can help you to start to create the connection points, is understanding we need both variety and certainty, but making sure there's a nice balance between the two, or harmony between the two throughout the week. Now let's get into the guided meditation to help bring this all together for you and to remind you of just what you are capable of here. Because during these chaotic days, these are the moments that are really important to win against the burnout beast so that you're not getting dragged towards hitting burnout. And what I want to remind you is just how powerful you are in this guided meditation and how capable you are to be able to handle what comes your way. So if you can, get settled into the space. Take this moment. If you are driving, just keep your eyes open, especially if you're driving, but just get present in the space. Acknowledge the breath as you're breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth, settling in. We went through these 3 reminders. You may have a moment that comes up of one of these that you could really implement into your day. But continue to focus in on your breath, in and out. Getting settled in. You may have had a lot of shit coming up before getting into this episode. You may have a lot of things that you have to deal with afterwards. But in this moment, come back into just being present here together. You can take a moment to look around your surroundings, notice things that are coming up. You might be seeing cars going by. Could be out and seeing trees. Maybe you're inside, you're noticing some books around or windows. But take a few moments here to notice what's around you, to bring your awareness into the present moment. And if you're just continuing to walk as you're listening, just focus in on your steps as you're walking. Remembering how capable you really are. I think back to this moment of realizing that we have more potential within us than we may ever realize or tap into in our lifetime. The odds of us being born is 1 in 400 trillion. We're a beautiful gift. And it's important to acknowledge that each day we have an opportunity to move towards who it is we want to become. No matter how small that is for you, it's recognizing that you have that ability in you. And as you focus in on your breath, breathing in, breathing out, take a moment to reconnect with parts of your body, starting from the bottom of your toes, letting them wiggle a bit around, moving up the legs, the calves, feeling your thighs, moving up to your stomach, and then your chest and your arms, feeling the energy that's moving. Or you could just be relaxing, noticing where it's tense, being able to just chill, let it out. Moving through your arms down to your hands and your fingertips, letting them move slightly. And then even moving your head back and forth as you continue to breathe in and breathe out. And remembering these 3 reminders to focus on you, take care of you and your personal health, to come back into pausing so you can focus back on this breath of breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. And then that second reminder of Mo time, movement, making sure you don't forget that when the chaotic days hit. Yeah, you may be moving around because you have to go get things, if that's doing errands or like having to go out there and pick someone up or move stuff over to another place. But make sure that you bring intentional movement in between those moments. Being able to remind yourself to, okay, shake it out. Let me shake my arms a little bit and just remember that that's my time. Or I can go for just a few seconds for a walk, coming back to taking care of me. That not only energizes you, but then It also helps to remind you to celebrate the small wins. Recognizing that each one of those moments of you taking care of you, these burnout-proof habits, are supporting you in your maintenance phase so that you can continue on that momentum phase of life. And then remembering that this is temporary. Now is not forever. Such a powerful quote by Alex Ramosi. That this is a phase that you're in where you may start here, but doesn't mean you have to end here. And then as you continue to feel where that tension is in your body, notice if it's your shoulders that are raised, you can drop them a little bit. Relaxing chest. Maybe it's in your back. You're noticing some tension there. Just being able to release it, letting it go. And then the third reminder is your push start. Being able to end the day with movement. To remind your body that you can do things even though you may not feel like it, that are going to be energizing for you. They're going to remind you of the confidence within you to be able to handle what's coming your way, because you are a badass human being, capable of so much fucking amazing things in this world. To move towards who it is you want to become, the epicness that is you. You have those capabilities. It's fucking right there, ready for you to lean in, to check in, and then to show the world. And then you can take that momentum that builds as you sleep into the next day. And as you continue to focus in on your breath in and breathe out, come on back to presence, to the space that you're in. Being able to have that moment to reconnect with you and the vision you have for your life of who it is you want to become. What does a life where you have a win in your chaotic day look like? What does it feel like? Bring that into focus for you. As you come back into the space, come back into the room or the environment that you're in. And then when you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, you can open up your eyes. And I want to leave you with remembering, if you haven't heard it today, remembering just how capable you really are. We tend to put all these limits on ourselves of self-imposed limits of what we believe we can do. And I just want to remind you of who it is you want to become, the journey that you're on. If you haven't heard it today, I believe in you. You are able to make progress towards who it is you want to become, even on the chaotic days, to create that win for yourself. You got this. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate the podcast to help get this message out of Make Burnout Extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I don't take that for granted, ever. And I'm so excited to reconnect again with you soon.